Screams rip through the air as a furious girl vows to bite a pervert to death, while her terrified target begs to be spared amidst floating islands. Meet Chao Yuan, an ordinary student now frantically running for his life from a fierce animal-eared girl after being unceremoniously dumped into a game world. His grand arrival an hour ago wasn't as a hero, but as a literal piece of grass. Talk about a downgrade. Now a tiny-legged sprout, he's being chased by cultivators desperate to catch the legendary immortal soul grass, much to his utter bewilderment. He dives into some bushes, hoping this leafy disguise will make him invisible to his pursuers, his little face a mask of pure anxiety. Peeking out, the little grass dude is already plotting his escape route back to his own world, a determined glint in his tiny eyes. But then reality hits with a thud. How's a walking root vegetable supposed to ask for directions or, not get eaten? From his hiding spot, his attention is suddenly snagged by a figure bathing by a serene lake. Oh, this could be an awkward first encounter. Suddenly, a pair of adorable, fluffy gray ears perk up, twitching with alertness as if sensing a disturbance in the force, or maybe just a weird plant. A stunning girl with wolf-like ears and a tail emerges from the water, splashing playfully and looking absolutely radiant as she runs ashore, completely oblivious. Our little sprout dude is utterly flabbergasted by the sight of actual animal ears, wondering what a wolf girl is doing in a supposed starter zone. The wolf girl, with a fierce glint in her golden eyes, spins around, demanding to know who's lurking nearby. She seems pretty miffed, clearly not expecting anyone to get past whatever magical defenses she had up. Then her eyes land on our glowing grass hero, and she's instantly curious about this fragrant, radiant plant, much to his internal screaming. Her bare foot lands on something slick and slimy on the ground, a little squish, marking the unfortunate moment. Wide-eyed and mouth agape, she suddenly realizes the ground beneath her is treacherously slippery. And down she goes, arms flailing in a comical tumble, heading straight for our poor, unsuspecting plant boy. With a soft thud, she lands right on top of him, leaving Cao Yuan looking like a very surprised, very squished green bean. Suddenly, an intense, swirling green light erupts from where Cao Yuan is, engulfing everything in its glow. The wolf girl's face is caught in the radiant light, her expression one of dazed surprise as the energy washes over her. In a flash of green light, Cao Yuan is suddenly human again, much to his and the wolf girl's mutual shock as they find themselves unexpectedly close. The wolf girl, blushing furiously, realizes with dawning horror that their accidental tumble resulted in an equally accidental kiss. Cao Yuan, despite the awkwardness, can't help but notice how pretty the flustered wolf girl is up close, a tiny, almost smug smile playing on his lips. Mortified, the wolf girl shoves him away, screaming "pervert," while Cao Yuan desperately tries to quiet her down, terrified her shouts will attract unwanted attention. She's not having any of it and sinks her teeth into his hand, making him yelp in surprised agony. This girl bites hard. The forest echoes with his pained cries as he tries to free his hand from her surprisingly strong jaw, the situation escalating rapidly. Unfortunately for Cao Yuan, his screams act like a beacon, and the cultivators hunting the immortal soul grass immediately pinpoint their location. His heart plummets as he realizes the cultivators are onto him, all thanks to this very loud, very angry wolf girl. With no other option, Cao Yuan decides his only course of action is to bolt, hoping to lose both the girl and his pursuers. He sprints away in a panic, only to be met with the terrifying shadow of a giant wolf, making him scream even louder. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. English recap. The giant wolf turns out to be the wolf girl, now towering over Cao Yuan with a very unimpressed, "Where do you think you're going, perv? Look." Cao Yuan is back to sprinting for his life, with the furious wolf girl and one of the cultivators hot on his heels. This guy just can't catch a break. The wolf girl is absolutely livid, her fangs bared as she yells at him to stop running, clearly still convinced he's up to no good. Our poor protagonist is practically in tears, desperately trying to explain he's not a pervert, and has no clue where he even is. He spots a cliff edge and makes a beeline for it, probably thinking anything is better than his current pursuers. Just as he reaches the precipice, his foot slips, sending a jolt of panic through him. Talk about a close call! He manages to stop himself right at the very edge, looking down with wide eyes, the drop looking terrifyingly real. A wild thought crosses his mind. Since this is a game world, would he even die if he jumped? He's actually considering it. Suddenly, the wolf girl pops up right behind him, her eyes covered but a smug grin on her face, daring him to jump and find out. Cao Yuan immediately drops to his knees, hands raised in surrender, desperately begging the unimpressed wolf girl for mercy. She's still fuming, though, fangs bared and fist clenched, clearly not over the accidental kiss and ready to unleash her wrath. But then a blush creeps up her face as she touches her lips, a flicker of vulnerability revealing it was her very first kiss. Cao Yuan, ever the opportunist, feigns deafness with a cheeky grin, clearly enjoying her flustered state a little too much. His teasing sends her into another rage, while he playfully sticks his tongue out, just as one of the cultivators finally catches up, looking to interrupt their little spat. In a surprising moment of teamwork, both Cao Yuan and the wolf girl yell at the poor cultivator to get lost, not yet finished with their argument. The cultivator is visibly stunned, a bead of sweat rolling down his face as he recognizes the formidable Lord Silver Wolf amidst the chaos. Composing himself, the cultivator explains he's leading a search for a lost treasure and just wants to ask a few questions, his disciples standing stoically behind him. Lord Silver Wolf, now in full boss mode, strikes a regal pose, questioning why this cultivator isn't offering tribute if he knows her status and is after treasure in her territory. Cao Yuan, peeking from the side, is completely floored by her sudden transformation and the sheer power radiating from her. English recap. Lord Silverwolf isn't buying the cultivator's story, declaring that any treasure found in her territory automatically belongs to her. Finders keepers, wolf rules. The cultivator is internally sweating bullets, realizing this powerful wolf lord is going to be a tough nut to crack. He notes Cao Yuan smells suspiciously like the immortal soul grass, deducing he must know its location, and hoping he doesn't spill the beans to the Silver Wolf clan. Seeing Lord Silver Wolf is clearly busy, the cultivator decides to make a strategic retreat with his disciples, planning to discuss matters later. Lord Silver Wolf turns her fiery gaze back to Cao Yuan, warning him she'll remember his scent and will bite him to death if he dares trespass again. Cao Yuan, ever the smooth operator, gives a cheeky salute and a grin, bidding farewell to Lord Silverwolf as if they're old pals. The wolf girl is momentarily stunned by his audacity, arms crossed and clearly not expecting such a casual dismissal after her threats. Cao Yuan's eyes gleam with a mischievous plan. He figures there's only one way out of this sticky situation now. He strikes a suave pose, smoothly suggesting they meet another time because he has other things to do, much to the wolf girl's utter disbelief and rising fury. Lord Silverwolf, with a determined glint in her eye, orders her wolf-eared lackeys to drag our boy back to their tribe, and they're all too happy to oblige. Cao Yuan, now flanked by two rather stern-looking wolf guards, tries to reason with them, wondering why a whole princess is so interested in a mortal like him. One of the guards, clearly having none of Cao Yuan's chatter, barks at him to shut up and get a move on, his patience wearing thin. As they venture deeper into a spooky forest filled with glowing red eyes, Cao Yuan is convinced he's a goner, lamenting his terrible luck and impending doom as Wolf Chow. Our hero internally freaks out, realizing he's walked right into the wolf's den after his grassy escapade, hilariously wondering if he'll even survive 3 episodes of this show. Elsewhere, a teacup smashes dramatically, signaling someone is not having a good day, probably that cultivator fuming about his lost prize. Indeed, the cultivator is absolutely livid, realizing he's chased the immortal soul grass right into Lord Silverwolf's territory, and now she's got the only lead. His subordinate tries to offer some comfort, suggesting the Silver Wolf isn't exactly a master alchemist, and Cao Yuan might not spill the beans so easily. But the cultivator is already envisioning a grim future, where a superpowered Silver Wolf means big trouble for all humankind in the area. With a steely glint in his eye, the cultivator isn't ready to give up just yet, already plotting how they can still fight back. Oh no, not again! Cao Yuan finds himself hilariously transformed back into a tiny, panicked piece of grass. From his precarious perch on a rooftop, Grass Cao Yuan spots Lord Silverwolf by a hot spring and plots a stealthy getaway. Meanwhile, Lord Silverwolf, blissfully unaware of her grassy stalker, elegantly steps into the steaming hot spring. She muses about the intruder who breached her barrier, wrinkling her nose at his odd grassy scent and deciding he probably wouldn't make a good snack. One of her wolf subordinates, clearly unimpressed after observing Cao Yuan, casually suggests they just eat him already. But Lord Silverwolf, with a sudden glint in her eye, sharply tells her underling to hold that thought. She remembers something crucial. When she first encountered him, he wasn't human at all, but a piece of grass, much to Grass Cao Yuan's shock in the background. Grass Cow Wen, eavesdropping from the roof, gets a jolt, realizing she might be onto his secret and leans in to hear more. Frustrated he can't quite hear, he suddenly recalls the electrifying moment he turned human. Right after that accidental kiss. A brilliant, or perhaps desperate, idea sparks in Grass Cow Yuan's mind as Lord Silverwolf looks thoughtfully into the distance. Could another kiss be the key? Lord Silverwolf, mid-soak, suddenly whips her head around, her sharp senses picking up on the little grass spy. With a furious glare, she unleashes a watery tendril, roaring for the rooftop lurker to show themselves immediately. Our tiny grass hero goes flying, launched by the water attack, letting out a silent, terrified scream. Lord Silverwolf stares in disbelief as a tiny, screaming plant thing hurtles towards her, completely baffled by its appearance. Panic sets in for Grass Cow Yuan as he realizes he's about to make a splash landing and, oh dear, he can't swim. He makes an undignified landing right onto Lord Silverwolf's chest, sending water splashing everywhere and her into total shock. Chao Yuan, now miraculously human again, snuggles into the unexpected softness, dreamily wondering if he's found paradise. Lord Silverwolf glares daggers at the now human Cow Yuan nestled against her, instantly recognizing her grassy intruder, while he desperately insists he wasn't peeking. She's absolutely fuming that he's not only on her roof but now in her bath, while he has a light bulb moment. Touching her turned him human, meaning his grassy escape plan is kaput. Lord Silverwolf clutches her head, completely done with his ridiculous excuses and this whole absurd situation. Just as things couldn't get more awkward, a wolf-eared attendant bursts in, alerted by the commotion and asking if Her Highness is okay. Lord Silverwolf, trying to play it cool while simultaneously drowning Cow Yuan with one hand, assures her attendant everything's fine and shoos her away. The attendant, bless her sharp ears, isn't entirely convinced, still thinking she heard something suspicious. With a strained smile, Lord Silverwolf insists she's perfectly all right, all while poor Chao Yuan is gurgling for his life beneath the surface, his struggles hidden from view. Chao Yuan is having a really bad time underwater, cheeks puffed out, silently begging for a rescue that might not come. Lord Silverwolf turns a steely gaze on her subordinate, her patience clearly wearing thin with the inopportune interruption. The attendant, wisely sensing she's overstayed her welcome, bows hastily and makes a swift exit, not daring to question her formidable lord further. Once the coast is clear, Lord Silverwolf, perhaps feeling a tiny bit guilty, reaches down to let Cow Yuan resurface. But oh no, Cow Yuan is just floating there, face down and motionless, sending Lord Silverwolf into a genuine panic. Leaning over him with wide, worried eyes, she desperately tells him to stop playing dead, clearly not ready to add accidental drowning to her list of problems today. Lord Silverwolf, thoroughly annoyed, delivers a sharp slap to Cow Yuan's face, trying to jolt him awake from his little act. His eyes spin into dizzying spirals, showing just how effective that wake-up call was. Or perhaps a bit too effective. A wave of regret washes over Lord Silverwolf as she realizes she might have actually knocked him out for real this time. Leaning in, she decides she can't let this infuriating brat die on her watch, not before she gets some answers. With a determined, if slightly panicked expression, she begins mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, hoping to revive her troublesome captive. Chao Yuan dramatically coughs and sputters back to life, expelling water and narrowly escaping a watery grave. Lord Silverwolf, now wrapped in a towel, stares wide-eyed as Cow Yuan sits up, equally stunned to realize he's still breathing. Overjoyed and completely oblivious, Cow Yuan celebrates his survival with wild gestures, while Lord Silverwolf face-palms in the background, her patience wearing thin. Having reached her limit, she lunges from behind, locking Cow Yuan in a furious chokehold, clearly tempted to finish the job herself. Just as things get dire, an attendant interrupts the scuffle, addressing Lord Silverwolf as Prince and informing her the tribe leader requests her presence. Lord Silverwolf, still toweled up, suddenly gets a bright idea, thinking the attendant's timing is impeccable. She glances at a thoroughly confused Cow Yuan, internally wondering if her father, the tribe leader, will be able to discern this strange boy's true nature. Inside, a stern wolfman from the wild dog tribe is already pressing the tribe leader about a marriage arrangement that needs immediate discussion. Not to be outdone, a fearsome, eye-patched wolf from the jackal tribe snarls, reminding the leader of a promise to marry his daughter to their tribe. Adding to the chaos, a suave foxman with a fan insists. His wild fox tribe's marriage arrangement is crucial and expects the elders to honor it. The wolf-eared tribe leader is sweating bullets, realizing he's caught in a very sticky situation with multiple demanding suitors. A hilarious flashback reveals the leader, in a drunken stupor, cheerfully promising his daughter to 3 different tribes, a decision now coming back to bite him. Back in the present, the 3 irate tribe representatives are squaring off, ready to throw down, while Lord Silverwolf and Cao Yuan watch the drama unfold from the doorway. Lord Silverwolf's eyes practically pop out of her head, her mind going blank at the shocking revelation of an arranged marriage. The flustered tribe leader turns to his daughter, little Yue, with a strained smile, desperately trying to explain the mess he's created. Lord Silverwolf, absolutely livid, grabs her father by the collar, demanding he explain this marriage mess right now. The tribe leader, looking utterly pained, tries to explain that the Silverwolf tribe's honor is at stake due to his promises. She scoffs internally at the thought of marrying any of those ugly things, and her mind races for an escape plan. Suddenly, her eyes land on Cao Yuan, still looking clueless by the pillar, and a mischievous idea sparks. Lord Silverwolf turns to the suitors with a surprisingly gentle expression, coyly announcing that her heart is already taken. She dramatically weaves a tale of a terrifying dragon attack and a brave young man who saved her, adding that tribal law binds her to her rescuer. The 3 suitors are absolutely floored, their jaws practically hitting the ground at the outlandish story of a giant dragon. With a triumphant grin, she yanks a completely bewildered Cao Yuan forward, presenting him as her heroic savior and future husband. Cao Yuan looks like he's just been hit by a lightning bolt, utterly clueless as to what on earth she's dragging him into. Lord Silverwolf shoots him a death glare, whispering a very clear threat: play along, or his miserable life is forfeit. The tribe leader, with a deeply skeptical gaze, scrutinizes Cao Yuan, clearly wondering if his daughter's wild tale holds a shred of truth. Cao Yuan, sweating bullets but trying to look heroic, nervously boasts about taking down the dragon in a few moves, while Lord Silverwolf nods enthusiastically beside him. The wild dog suitor isn't buying it for a second, loudly proclaiming that a mere human couldn't possibly defeat a dragon and accusing Cao Yuan of bewitching the young lady. Suddenly, the tribe leader's eyes light up with a brilliant, or perhaps disastrous idea to resolve this whole mess. He grandly announces a marriage competition. The strongest suitor wins his daughter, as Cao Yuan and Lord Silverwolf stare up at the imposing silhouettes of the 3 tribal representatives. Cao Yuan's face drains of all color as he internally screams, absolutely certain this competition spells his doom. The fierce, eye-patched Jackal tribe representative readily accepts the challenge, eager for a fight. The tribe leader strokes his chin, looking quite pleased with himself, confident that his plan for a competition is foolproof and no one could possibly object. Just then, a dazzling, golden-clad figure bursts onto the scene, dramatically shouting his objection and practically blinding everyone with his radiance. Cao Yuan shields his eyes from the newcomer's blinding aura as a mysterious system notification pops up, announcing the arrival of a regional protagonist and the activation of a luck system. The 3 tribal representatives turn, visibly annoyed, as this flashy newcomer radiating golden light makes his grand entrance. Cao Yuan is completely baffled by the protagonist announcement, trying to figure out who this dazzling dude even is. The Foxman scoffs, fanning himself dismissively and calling the newcomer Flame Wolf garbage, clearly underestimating him. The golden-clad wolf, now identified as Flame Wolf, smirks, conjuring a ball of fire, eager to show he's no longer the pushover from 3 years ago. With a fierce glint in his eyes, Flame Wolf unleashes a torrent of fiery energy, ready to make a statement. The Foxman barely has time to react as Flame Wolf's fiery attack shoots towards him like a blazing comet. A loud boom echoes as the Foxman is sent flying, letting out a startled yelp, completely overwhelmed by the sudden assault. The wild dog suitor watches grimly as the Foxman lies defeated, recognizing that this blonde wolf has reached a terrifyingly high power level. Flame Wolf then turns and bows respectfully to the tribe leader, addressing him as uncle, much to the leader's surprise. The tribe leader, looking rather tired of all the drama, questions Flame Wolf's aggressive arrival and his true intentions, clearly suspicious. Flame Wolf, with a hint of accusation, reminds the tribe leader that he was the one who called off their marriage arrangement 3 years prior. He recounts how his meridians were broken back then, and the leader cruelly broke their engagement, while Cao Yuan gets a wild system pop-up about this regional protagonist and a luck-seizing task. Qiao Yuan, completely bewildered by this new game-like interface, tentatively taps at the glowing notification. His finger presses a confirm button, officially diving him headfirst into whatever this seizing luck quest chain entails. The quest objective flashes before his eyes. Stop Flame Wolf from marrying Yin Yao or face death. Talk about high stakes for our boy. Flame Wolf confidently declares that Yin Yao still loves him, completely oblivious to Qiao Yuan, who's now grappling with a life-or-death mission only he can see. With a fist pump and a surge of heroic energy, Flame Wolf proclaims his love for Yin Yao fueled his transformation into an honorable beast. His eyes blaze with purple intensity as he reveals he's arrived with a singular dramatic purpose. Flame Wolf dramatically points at Lord Silverwolf, announcing his grand plan to take his Yao Yao away, much to Qiao Yuan's shock. Lord Silverwolf, looking utterly unamused with her arms crossed, coldly tells Flame Wolf to drop the pet name, as they are definitely not on familiar terms. Flame Wolf, completely misreading the room, tries to gently take Yin Yao's hand, convinced she's just being polite to her dad. Our boy Qiao Yuan, bless his cotton socks, actually steps in, grabbing Flame Wolf's arm and pointing out the obvious. She's not interested. Flame Wolf absolutely loses it, his eyes bugging out as he prepares to unleash his greedy wolf claws on this useless junk daring to touch him. Qiao Yuan, looking rather fed up with these hot-headed beasts, gets a timely system pop-up asking if he wants to use a special quest skill. With a determined glint in his eye, Qiao Yuan mentally smashes that use button as a brilliant light starts to flare up. In a flash, Qiao Yuan's hands are pressed firmly against Flame Wolf's chest, ready to counter. He shoves Flame Wolf back with a surprisingly powerful move, the system helpfully labeling it Seizing Luck's secret technique, Dragon Claws. Flame Wolf stumbles, genuinely shocked that this random human moved so fast he couldn't even track it. Qiao Yuan throws a smug little smirk Flame Wolf's way, clearly enjoying the moment and asking if he gets the picture now. Flame Wolf is utterly flabbergasted, his face a mask of disbelief as he reels from the unexpected pushback. Despite his cool move, Qiao Yuan goes flying backwards, screaming, because apparently that dragon claw had zero actual power behind it. He slides dramatically across the polished floor, looking like a bowling pin that just got a strike. Gritting his teeth, Qiao Yuan glares, thinking this golden pretty boy is way more ruthless than he looks. Flame Wolf looms over him, clearly irritated that some random human dared to interrupt his grand romantic declaration. The tribe leader finally steps in, telling Flame Wolf to prove his strength in the upcoming marriage competition instead of bullying his daughter's, savior. Flame Wolf, with a lovesick glance towards Yin Yao, readily agrees to the competition, but our boy Qiao Yuan suddenly pipes up from the floor. Qiao Yuan, with his eyes hilariously blacked out as if to emphasize his sheer audacity, yells that Flame Wolf can't just waltz off because their fight isn't finished. Flame Wolf turns, a mixture of disbelief and annoyance on his face, wondering how this persistent gnat still has the guts to challenge him. With a sudden burst of confidence, Qiao Yuan flashes a cheeky grin, telling the Golden Wolf not to underestimate the skills of a top-tier gamer. Flame Wolf, absolutely fuming now, charges forward, ready to unleash another round of his greedy wolf claws on the surprisingly resilient human. Qiao Yuan, surprisingly nimble, twists his body, narrowly avoiding Flame Wolf's furious claw attack. Lord Silverwolf watches with a flicker of surprise, clearly not expecting the human to evade so cleanly. Flame Wolf, teeth bared in a snarl, lunges again, but Qiao Yuan's afterimages dance around him, making the golden boy miss repeatedly. Yin Yao thoughtfully strokes her chin, wondering if this human is actually skilled or just incredibly lucky to dodge a 5th-grade demon's attacks. Despite looking a bit battered on the floor, Qiao Yuan grins, holding up a shiny D token as a system notification declares his survival and skill data acquisition. The glowing blue system interface confirms the greedy wolf claw's attack data has been successfully logged, much to Qiao Yuan's unseen delight. A new quest objective pops up: defeat Flame Wolf and complete his BS, with progress currently at a very motivating 0%. Flame Wolf scoffs at Qiao Yuan's new, rather odd fighting stance, clearly underestimating whatever our gamer boy is planning. With another roar of greedy wolf claws, Flame Wolf pounces, only for Qiao Yuan to meet the attack with an unexpected move of his own. Flame Wolf's eye widens in sheer disbelief, completely caught off guard by whatever just happened. The wild dog suitor gawks, completely floored that the human actually managed to do something against Flame Wolf. Xiao Yuan, with a hand still glowing from his copied move, smirks triumphantly, dismissing Flame Wolf's signature attack as utterly pathetic. Flame Wolf, now sprawled on the floor, stares in disbelief, demanding to know how this nobody could possibly know his greedy wolf claws. With sparkles practically radiating off him, Cao Yuan smugly declares his main character status, while a system notification cheekily announces BS completion progress 1-2. Cao Yuan's cool facade cracks a little, as the system urgently reminds him there's another part to his bluff, and death is on the line if he doesn't hurry. Our boy comically freaks out, wondering why on earth his BS task isn't fully completed yet. Suddenly, with a soft poof, Cao Yuan transforms into a tiny, bewildered-looking sprout with big, innocent eyes, surrounded by a faint green glow. The little sprout Cao Yuan is in utter despair, hilariously lamenting his sudden, inconvenient transformation into a piece of vegetation. The system, ever so helpful, flashes a dire warning. BS progress is still only halfway, and a 30-second death countdown has begun. Now there are two identical, confused little sprouts as Flame Wolf looms nearby, and a death timer ticks ominously down, much to everyone's bewilderment. Yin Yao, looking thoroughly unimpressed, realizes this whole sprout situation is about to become a massive headache. The tiny sprout, who is clearly Cao Yuan, frantically tries to get Yin Yao's attention, practically begging her to bail him out of this leafy predicament. Yin Yao jumps, startled, as the furious little sprout gives her an earful for trying to play hide-and-seek when his life is on the line. With the death timer still ticking, Sprout Cao Yuan sweats bullets knowing he's got to think fast or become permanent mulch. Oh, for crying out loud, now the wild dog suitor and the tribe leader have also turned into bewildered sprouts, staring at each other in leafy confusion. Sprout Cao Yuan, eyes wide with a mix of terror and resolve, decides it's time for a desperate all-or-nothing gamble. He launches himself towards a very surprised Yin Yao, hoping that a quick touch will break this vegetative curse before the timer hits 0. Suddenly, a vibrant green beam erupts from the determined sprout, striking Yin Yao squarely and sending her stumbling back in shock. The little sprout Cao Yuan makes a surprisingly soft landing, boinging gently against Yin Yao's chest with a rather satisfied expression. Yin Yao, blushing furiously, looks down in utter disbelief, wondering just where this audacious little plant thinks it's going. A blinding green light explodes outwards, swirling with an almost magical intensity, signaling a dramatic change. And just like that, Cao Yuan is human again, striking a classic hero pose as he suavely corners a very flustered Yin Yao, clearly enjoying his newfound confidence. He leans in closer, possessively declaring Yin Yao as his woman, much to her wide-eyed, blushing surprise and perhaps a tiny bit of intrigue. Cao Yuan breathes a huge sigh of relief as a system pop-up confirms his ridiculous bluff worked, saving him from becoming plant food, while Yin Yao just tries to process the whiplash. But before anyone can relax, Flame Wolf dramatically fans himself, stepping forward to protest that the marriage competition discussion isn't even close to finished. Cao Yuan shoots Flame Wolf an incredibly unimpressed, almost comically tiny glare, clearly not in the mood for more of the Golden Boy's theatrics. Flame Wolf scoffs, with the wild dog suitor chiming in from behind, both questioning Cao Yuan's supposed grand feats of defeating dragons and beasts. Flame Wolf then points an accusing finger, insisting that this grass fairy Cao Yuan is surely unqualified and will just resort to trickery in any competition. Suddenly, Yin Yao delivers a swift, satisfying slap across Flame Wolf's face, interrupting his condescending speech with a look of pure fury. With a dangerously sweet smile, Yin Yao grabs Flame Wolf's chin, her eyes glinting as she challenges his audacity for daring to doubt her. Yin Yao, with a smile that could curdle milk, leans in, her eyes practically daring Flame Wolf to question her judgment again, leaving him utterly stunned. The tribe leader, Lord Silverwolf, thoughtfully strokes his chin, looking like he's just had a brilliant, if slightly mischievous, idea. Yin Yao, still gripping Flame Wolf's chin, turns to her father with a bewildered expression, completely thrown by his sudden change of tune. Lord Silverwolf then cheerfully informs a gobsmacked Cao Yuan that to truly win their respect, he just needs to pop off and bring back a giant dragon's corpse. Cao Yuan points at himself, his face a mask of utter disbelief, as if he's wondering if he accidentally wandered into a Death Wish recruitment drive. The tribe leader, with an infuriatingly smug look, suggests that for his esteemed son-in-law, dispatching a dragon should be a walk in the park, much to Cao Yuan's internal screaming. Fed up, Cao Yuan announces he's out of there, not about to become Dragon Chow, while Yin Yao calls after him, clearly not expecting his abrupt departure. With a fiery aura of defiance, Cao Yuan declares his freedom, absolutely refusing to be railroaded into a suicide mission. But just as he's about to make his grand exit, a new system quest pops up, informing him he now needs to become the tribe leader's son-in-law by gaining the tribe's recognition. Cao Yuan's face drains of all color as the system clarifies: slay a giant dragon or face actual, non-negotiable death. Cao Yuan clenches his fists in frustration as the system throws another death penalty quest at him, complete with a terrifyingly short countdown. Our hero, faced with imminent doom, performs a spectacular U-turn, prostrating himself before Lord Silverwolf with newfound, desperate respect. With puppy dog eyes practically brimming with tears, Cao Yuan begs his wise and knowledgeable future father-in-law for the quickest route to a giant dragon. Lord Silverwolf, stroking his goatee with immense satisfaction, notes how very eager his prospective son-in-law suddenly is to marry his daughter. Yin Yao looks like she wants the ground to swallow her whole as her father beams approvingly at Cao Yuan, who's now practically clinging to her. Flame Wolf, ever the helpful rival, chimes in with details about a formidable ice giant dragon residing in the perpetually snowy northern lands. A close-up on Flame Wolf reveals a glint of something not entirely benevolent in his eyes, as he helpfully suggests Cao Yuan venture to this icy domain. Cao Yuan, still on the floor but now looking hopeful, eagerly inquires about the distance to this dragon-infested northern mountain. Flame Wolf, with a suspiciously cheerful wave, assures him it's just a hop, skip, and a jump north, while Cao Yuan looks ready to start crawling immediately. A skeptical Cao Yuan glances back, a seed of doubt planted. This golden boy couldn't possibly be setting him up, could he? Cao Yuan scratches his head, suddenly realizing he has absolutely no idea which direction north actually is, much to his own befuddlement. Flame Wolf, ever so helpful, casually mentions the trip north would take a mere year and 8 months, by which time he and Yin Yao would practically have a family. Flame Wolf then smoothly suggests to the tribe leader that they can just start the competition now, no need to wait for that grass fairy. Our hero, looking rather small and dejected, wanders off into the distance, still muttering about finding north, completely oblivious to the trap. A close-up on Cao Yuan's face reveals his utter confusion, still trying to navigate by sheer willpower alone. Suddenly, something crashes down from above, sending Cao Yuan tumbling spectacularly with a look of pure shock. Dazed but mostly unharmed, Cao Yuan finds himself holding a surprisingly large blue-spotted egg, looking utterly perplexed. He stands beside a fresh crater, cradling the mysterious egg and wondering what kind of bird delivers via aerial bombardment. Meanwhile, Yin Yao is absolutely livid, calling out Flame Wolf for his unsporting attempt to start the competition, while Cao Yuan is on his wild goose chase. The wild dog suitor seizes the moment, kneeling before Yin Yao and earnestly questioning if she truly believes that Grass Fairy can bring her happiness. The wild dog suitor, with a face full of conviction, passionately declares he'll protect Yin Yao, unlike that Grass Fairy. Lord Silverwolf watches with a stern expression as the suitor continues his dramatic proposal to a rather taken-aback Yin Yao. Suddenly, Lord Silverwolf's eyes narrow, sensing an immense oppressive aura that feels suspiciously like a dragon's. Before anyone can react, both Yin Yao and her father are sent flying by an unseen force looking utterly shocked. A colossal, terrifying ice dragon materializes before them, its frosty presence instantly chilling the atmosphere and everyone's moods. Lord Silverwolf breaks into a cold sweat, realizing they're completely outmatched and his tribe might be doomed. Yin Yao, wide-eyed with terror, desperately tries to warn the others to scatter as the monstrous dragon glares down. The ice dragon looks rather miffed, clearly insulted that these tiny mortals are already scampering away without even a proper introduction. With a mighty roar, the dragon unleashes a devastating ice breath, instantly flash-freezing Flame Wolf and the wild dog suitor mid-panic. Lord Silverwolf stares in abject horror, wondering what brought this icy behemoth to their doorstep, and if this spells the end for his entire tribe. The ice dragon yelps in surprise as a fiery attack, the greedy wolf claw, slams right into its side, making it cry out. Lord Silverwolf whips around, completely baffled, wondering who on earth just launched that impressive dragon-walloping strike. And look who it is. Cao Yuan makes a grand re-entrance, all smiles and heroic poses, cheerfully greeting his father-in-law. The colossal ice dragon glares down at the tiny human, huffing indignantly at the sheer audacity of this mortal daring to attack it. Not one to be outdone, the dragon rears back and unleashes a terrifying blast of its signature dragon ice breath. Chao Yuan, ever the showman, leaps dramatically into the air, vowing to shut down the dragon's frosty attacks permanently. Like a golden comet, Cao Yuan rockets towards the dragon, slamming headfirst into the beast with a mighty roar from the impacted dragon. Our hero then executes a series of flashy flips, gracefully evading any counterattack, looking incredibly cool while doing it. Cao Yuan lands with a confident tap, striking a pose as if this was all just a casual warm-up. With a smug little smile, Cao Yuan thanks the now tiny retreating spirit of the dragon, which promises rather unconvincingly that it'll be back. Cao Yuan casually chats with the still frozen flame wolf, smugly noting the dragon's convenient proximity and promising a swift defrosting, much to Flame Wolf's icy glare. In a surprisingly tender moment, Cao Yuan gently takes Yin Yao's hand, a silent invitation. He then leads a somewhat bewildered Yin Yao away, a determined glint in his eyes as they walk into the night. Later, in a private room, Yin Yao confronts Cao Yuan, arms crossed and clearly demanding answers from this dirty rogue. She points an accusatory finger, desperate to understand just how he managed to vanquish that terrifying dragon. Cao Yuan, looking a tad bashful, scratches his head with a nervous chuckle, clearly about to spin a tale. The story begins with the ice dragon spirit, wailing in distress as it frantically searched for its lost child. Our hero recalls holding the slightly cracked, blue-spotted egg, just as a system prompt reminded him of his dragon-slaying, elder-impressing quest. Suddenly, the massive ice dragon had appeared before him, its eyes wide with joyous relief at spotting the egg, while Cao Yuan's own death timer ominously ticked down. The magnificent dragon then gently inquired if it was indeed him who had found her precious child, the egg still cradled in Cao Yuan's arms. Cao Yuan, still in his flashback, notices with some concern that the precious dragon egg he's holding appears to be cracked. To his utter surprise, a warm glow envelops the egg as some mysterious healing energy emanates from his hands, mending the cracks. Our hero is completely flabbergasted, realizing he somehow possesses a healing skill he never knew existed. Talk about a convenient discovery. The magnificent ice dragon, now looking incredibly grateful, formally thanks the bewildered human for apparently saving its child. The dragon then affectionately nuzzles Cao Yuan, explaining it knew he was trustworthy because of his unique, divine grass smell, much to his surprise. With a noble glint in its eye, the dragon declares that its kind always repays their debts and asks Cao Yuan to name his wish. Cao Yuan's face lights up like a kid in a candy store, absolutely thrilled by the prospect of a wish, almost like he's met Shenron himself. With a spark of genius or perhaps desperation, Cao Yuan eagerly requests the dragon to help him complete his quest by staging a little performance. Back in the present, Yin Yao shakes a still chuckling Cao Yuan, demanding to know what's so funny, while a tiny flashback shows the dragon looking utterly perplexed by the perform and act request. Lord Silverwolf, clearing his throat to regain everyone's attention, officially announces that Cao Yuan's dragon-defeating feat proves Yin Yao's claims and qualifies him for the competition. The wild dog suitor, looking absolutely petrified, hastily tries to withdraw himself and a still-frozen flame wolf from the competition entirely. But hold on, a new challenger appears. A rather dashing blonde wolf boy steps forward, dramatically declaring he still has a claim. This newcomer earnestly explains to Lord Silverwolf about a childhood promise of marriage with Yin Yao, who quickly tries to downplay it as mere kid stuff. Undeterred, the blonde suitor grabs Yin Yao's arm with a desperate look, vowing not to lose her again, much to her visible annoyance. Cao Yuan, meanwhile, observes this new rival's audacity with a sweat drop, briefly considering throwing in the towel until a new, rather insistent quest pops up. His eyes widen in alarm as the system clarifies that admitting defeat now would mean actual, literal death. Well, that certainly changes things. Fired up, Cao Yuan boldly challenges Flame Wolf, who, despite his recent icy predicament, puffs up his chest and accepts, boasting he'd fight anyone. Lord Silver Wolf, practically vibrating with excitement, gleefully announces the immediate commencement of the first round, while Yin Yao gives him a serious side-eye. Without wasting a second, Flame Wolf, now free from his icy prison, launches himself forward in a blaze of glory, eager to prove his might. It's a clash of titans, or at least a clash of greedy wolf claws, as both Cao Yuan and Flame Wolf power up their signature moves, ready to collide. Their signature moves, greedy wolf claws, collide in a spectacular burst of golden energy, a true test of wills. Cao Yuan lands with a smirk, a system notification popping up to declare him immune to Flame Wolf's attack, much to his opponent's airborne surprise. Flame Wolf, gritting his teeth at this brat, quickly regains his footing and whips up another powerful slash of energy. Lord Silverwolf stares in disbelief, utterly baffled that Cao Yuan emerged from that powerful clash completely unscathed. Not giving up, Flame Wolf unleashes a greedy wolf claw barrage, a rapid-fire flurry of attacks trying to overwhelm Cao Yuan. Cao Yuan grits his teeth, enduring the onslaught as his system diligently analyzes this high-frequency attack, a few scratches appearing on his arms. With a smug little humph, Cao Yuan's system confirms he's adapted, now boasting damage reduction and quick recovery from the barrage. Flame Wolf looks absolutely stunned as dark energy erupts from Cao Yuan, seemingly turning his own attack against him. Cao Yuan, with a surprisingly earnest expression, states that despite not wanting to hurt him, their fight must continue until a victor is decided. Flame Wolf, his clothes now looking rather worse for wear, can only curse in frustration as he's clearly being outmaneuvered. Flame Wolf, spitting blood, can only curse his rotten luck and the sheer unfairness of it all, his pride taking a massive hit. But wait, Flame Wolf isn't down yet. He lets out a furious roar, erupting in a massive inferno as he taps into some hidden power reserve. Lord Silverwolf watches with grim awe, recognizing that Flame Wolf is actually achieving a breakthrough mid-battle. Talk about terrifying talent. Now looking like a true fire demon with blazing red hair, Flame Wolf glares, finding Cao Yuan's resilience utterly unforgivable. With a fiery glint in his eye, Flame Wolf locks onto Cao Yuan, absolutely convinced he's about to turn the tables. Cao Yuan, meanwhile, gets a rather unhelpful system prompt to raise his realm, leaving him wondering if it expects him to go Super Saiyan on the spot. Before Cao Yuan can even process that, a smirking Flame Wolf is suddenly right in his face, confidently declaring the fight over. Our hero can only stare in wide-eyed shock, completely caught off guard by Flame Wolf's blinding new speed. Flame Wolf, now holding Cao Yuan by the throat, offers a very generous chance to surrender and keep his miserable life. Dangling helplessly, Cao Yuan frantically tries to figure out a counter, realizing his usual tricks are useless against this powered-up foe. Just when Flame Wolf thought he had him, Cao Yuan exhales a frosty breath, a wisp of icy energy escaping his lips. Flame Wolf's eyes practically bug out of his head in sheer disbelief. "Nani?" as the tables begin to turn in a most unexpected way. With a surprising burst of power, Cao Yuan's arm, now encased in shimmering ice, shoves Flame Wolf back, much to the fiery suitor's astonishment. Our hero coughs, a system prompt revealing his ice breath analysis is only at 50%, clearly a new and taxing ability. Despite the strain, Cao Yuan flashes a confident smirk. Apparently 50% is more than enough for what he has in mind. Flame Wolf, his own hands now partially frozen, glares as he realizes Cao Yuan is cleverly using ice to counter his fiery assault. But Flame Wolf scoffs, boasting about his superior Stage 6 power, and suddenly erupts in a terrifying inferno, catching Cao Yuan off guard. Levitating amidst the divine fire, Flame Wolf declares that mere ice won't be enough to hold back his true might. With a furious cry, Flame Wolf unleashes his ultimate attack, wolves of blazing flame, sending colossal fiery beasts hurtling towards his opponent. Cao Yuan's eye widens, a silent exclamation of shock or perhaps dawning realization as the overwhelming fiery onslaught bears down on him. The colossal fiery wolves, a truly terrifying sight, bear down on Cao Yuan with overwhelming force. Yin Yao, watching in horror, calls out to Cao Yuan, her voice laced with genuine concern for the pervert. Lord Silverwolf sternly reminds Yin Yao that this is a death match, but she desperately argues Cao Yuan is about to be cooked alive. Cao Yuan, engulfed in flames, grimaces as his system warns him this fiery attack is too much, too fast to analyze without taking damage. Flame Wolf, with a chillingly calm demeanor, gestures towards the inferno, advising Cao Yuan to simply embrace his fiery end. Our hero, however, smirks through the searing heat, finding Flame Wolf's pronouncements about fate rather amusing for a supposed protagonist. Flame Wolf whips around, completely taken aback as a sudden intense cold emanates from Cao Yuan's direction. An enormous vortex of pure ice, a frost breath of epic proportions, erupts from Cao Yuan, ready to meet the flames. Yin Yao stares in utter disbelief, instantly recognizing that incredible ice power as a skill from the giant dragon. She can't help but wonder if Cao Yuan, that absolute madman, actually managed to learn the dragon's technique just by witnessing it. Flame Wolf, absolutely seething, bellows that Cao Yuan will only regret his actions when he's 6 feet under, lunging forward with fiery intent. Cao Yuan, cool as ice, counters that blaming fate is a weakling's excuse, just as his system triumphantly announces the full analysis of freezing breath. Flame Wolf stares in disbelief, realizing the clever brat used the sheer force of his icy breath to launch himself skyward, even as he yells for Cao Yuan to meet his doom. Now soaring above, Cao Yuan, with a look of fierce determination, warns his fiery opponent to brace himself for what's coming next. Flame Wolf's world suddenly turns into a blur of pain as an icy fist connects squarely with his jaw, sending a shard of ice flying. The mighty Flame Wolf is sent tumbling backwards through the air, completely outmatched, while Cao Yuan remains a dominant figure above. Cao Yuan lands with a confident poise, kicking up a small cloud of dust as he coolly observes his handiwork. Flame Wolf lies sprawled in a newly formed icy crater, the fight literally frozen out of him, as Cao Yuan stands over his defeated form. With a self-satisfied smirk, Cao Yuan gets a notification that Flame Wolf's ultimate move is now his, essentially asking his opponent if he's learned a lesson about true protagonist power. Lord Silverwolf materializes beside Cao Yuan, looking down at the very singed and now very frozen Flame Wolf, officially declaring him the loser of this round. Lord Silverwolf casually informs a stunned Yin Yao that Cao Yuan is her husband now, as if it's no big deal. Yin Yao, blushing furiously, stammers out her agreement, clearly flustered but trying to play it cool like she totally remembered this arrangement. Just as Lord Silverwolf declares Cao Yuan will represent him, a battered Flame Wolf stumbles forward, dramatically objecting to this development. Cao Yuan looks utterly exasperated, wondering if this persistent, fiery fool actually enjoys getting thrashed repeatedly. Flame Wolf, ever the sore loser, challenges Cao Yuan to a future bet, convinced he can still win, while Cao Yuan just looks down, probably thinking, "Here we go again." Our hero internally scoffs at the sheer audacity of Flame Wolf wanting to bet against the protagonist, right as his system dings with a new idea. A new quest notification pops up, and suddenly Cao Yuan seems to be reconsidering, a flicker of something devious in his eyes. With a complete 180 in demeanor, Cao Yuan cheerfully agrees to the bet, looking entirely too pleased with himself. Flame Wolf, dead serious, lays down his terms. If Cao Yuan loses, he has to ditch Yin Yao for good. Cao Yuan's expression sharpens, his eyes glinting as he fires back, wanting to know what Flame Wolf stands to lose. Flame Wolf, ever the drama king even in defeat, grandly proposes that if he loses their future bet, he'll fulfill Cao Yuan's wish at some big beastman party. Cao Yuan, completely out of the loop, turns to Yin Yao for an explanation about this beastman shindig, only for her to casually mention he's basically just her +1 since she's the tribe leader. Lord Silverwolf, ever the opportunist, dismisses the gathering and with a knowing look strongly suggests the newlyweds should, get acquainted in their room. Both Cao Yuan and Yin Yao are comically propelled forward by the old wolf, their expressions a perfect blend of shock and what is happening. With an unceremonious thud, the two are literally thrown into a room, as Lord Silverwolf cheerfully advises them from outside to just get it over with quickly. Cao Yuan, sprawled on the floor, can't believe this is the newlywed suite and how fast things are moving, while Yin Yao fumes about her meddling father. Suddenly, a metaphorical light bulb pings above Cao Yuan's head as the full blush-worthy implication of his father-in-law's words finally sinks in. A devious grin spreads across Cao Yuan's face as he starts chuckling like a loon, leaving a very confused and slightly alarmed Yin Yao wondering what's so funny. Yin Yao quickly shuts down any romantic notions, fiercely declaring she only used him to dodge marriage, and he better not try anything funny, much to Cao Yuan's visible distress. With a positively terrifying glare, Yin Yao lays down her terms. Public husband, private slave, a deal our hero probably didn't see coming. Cao Yuan, looking absolutely petrified with comical fangs, frantically begs his new wife to release him, sensing imminent doom from her terrifying glare. Yin Yao coolly informs him they're off to the Beastmen gathering in 2 days, then sarcastically asks if he still fancies a trip to the newlywed room, to which a traumatized Cao Yuan vehemently denies. Fast forward 2 days, and our hero is practically dying under a mountain of luggage, pathetically pleading for a break. Yin Yao, looking completely unfazed and energetic, casually asks if he's tired already, boasting she could keep going like this all day. She then cheerfully announces her excitement for the Beastman gathering, adding that of course, she can go on. He's the one carrying everything after all. Oblivious to his suffering, Yin Yao stretches luxuriously, enjoying the lovely weather while her slave toils away. Their leisurely, albeit one-sidedly strenuous journey is rudely interrupted by a volley of sharp daggers whistling through the air. Despite being treated like a pack mule, Cao Yuan's protective instincts flare up as he shouts a warning to Yin Yao. Yin Yao turns, a flicker of surprise on her face as she registers the incoming attack and Cao Yuan's urgent cry. With a dismissive air, Yin Yao effortlessly bats away the projectiles, clearly unimpressed by what she considers a pathetically weak ambush. Yin Yao, ever so slightly concerned, glances back, warning Cao Yuan to be wary of this particular foe, while a strange blue crystal glows on his back. Suddenly, Cao Yuan's face contorts in alarm as he realizes he's completely paralyzed, wondering if those daggers were laced with poison. Our hero dramatically faceplants, and Yin Yao, despite her usual disdain, actually rushes over, looking genuinely worried for the pervert. Just as Cao Yuan hits the dirt, a whole squad of shady-looking assassins pops out from the woods, thinking this is their lucky break. Yin Yao shoots a glare sharp enough to cut glass at the ambushers, her eyes blazing with fury at their underhanded tactics. But then, plot twist. One of the assassins suddenly faceplants too, completely out of the blue, much to everyone's surprise. Yin Yao puffs up her chest, radiating pure alpha energy as she questions if these mere humans dare to make fools of themselves by attacking a Silver Wolf tribe member. With a swift, almost imperceptible movement, Yin Yao turns, ready to unleash her full might upon these foolish attackers. But wait, Cao Yuan is somehow back on his feet, holding a wicked-looking chain weapon he apparently just snatched, while Yin Yao stares, baffled by the silent attack. A lone, mysterious assassin appears in the distance, smugly revealing their signature weapon as a soundless, life-taking awl, perfect for sneaky takedowns. Yin Yao whips around, clearly miffed that this assassin actually thought they stood a chance against her. The assassin, now looking rather desperate, tries to save his own skin by claiming Cao Yuan is a goner anyway thanks to his special soul-yeeting awl. With a truly unsettling leer, the assassin suggests Yin Yao surrender, and perhaps he'll consider helping her doomed companion. Yin Yao glances back, a hint of worry for the stupid pervert momentarily softening her fierce expression. But surprise! Cao Yuan stands up perfectly fine as his system announces it has fully analyzed the life-taking awl, much to everyone's shock. The assassin absolutely loses it, screeching that no medicine could possibly counteract his deadly poison. Yin Yao, visibly relieved that her pack mule is okay, cracks her knuckles, ready to unleash some serious pain. She then launches herself at the stunned assassin with a furious battle cry, delivering a kick that sends him spiraling. A close-up on Yin Yao's golden eyes reveals the sheer, unadulterated fury of a wolf protecting her. Well, her something. Yin Yao moves with lightning speed, a blur of motion as she continues her relentless beatdown on the unfortunate assassin. Yin Yao, mid-beatdown, snarls with golden eyes, demanding to know who dares interrupt her righteous fury. A new, rather elegant cat-eared lady appears, calmly asking if Yin Yao was the one dissing humans. This mysterious newcomer smirks, clearly unimpressed and finding Yin Yao's previous boast quite amusingly arrogant. With a sudden boom, the newcomer unleashes a powerful attack, sending Yin Yao coughing and stumbling back amidst explosions. Yin Yao, looking thoroughly ticked off, grits her teeth, realizing this new foe is on a whole other level. Just as she's about to retaliate, Yin Yao gets unexpectedly yanked backwards, her expression a mix of shock and, "What now?" Turns out it's Cao Yuan pulling her to safety, calmly advising her to identify their attacker before rushing in, much to her surprise. Yin Yao, however, is absolutely livid, accusing someone, probably Cao Yuan, of taking advantage and calling the hidden attacker a coward. Cao Yuan, looking surprisingly serious and protective, notes that their unseen enemy definitely isn't a pushover, while Yin Yao blushes furiously beside him. As Cao Yuan coolly assesses the situation, a new system notification pops up, unlocking a fortune-stealing mission chain, Light of the Humans, because of course it does. A new, rather arrogant-looking swordsman appears on a hill, condescendingly informing our heroes that they're just too small to see his greatness. Yin Yao, now a comically flattened, angry wolf girl, bristles at being called weak, while Cao Yuan gets a new system quest. Anger the light of the humans. Suddenly, a robed figure pops up, gushing about how this light of the humans is the shining example for their generation, arriving just in time. Yin Yao looks utterly bewildered by this light of the humans title, a bead of sweat betraying her slight unease. The light of the humans then proceeds to list his ridiculously impressive resume, from cultivating a golden pill as a preteen to being undefeated in 300 battles. Cao Yuan, ever the quick thinker, puts two and two together with a sly grin, deducing the robed figure must be this prodigy's uncle. The robed uncle, puffing his chest with pride, confirms Cao Yuan's astute observation with a very self-satisfied smirk. Cao Yuan subtly plants his foot, a spark of mischief in his eyes, clearly about to stir up some trouble. With a gleeful, "Then things are a lot easier," Cao Yuan launches himself towards the unsuspecting uncle, much to everyone's surprise. Our hero unceremoniously tackles the robed uncle, who lets out a startled yelp as he's slammed to the ground. Cao Yuan, with the uncle firmly in his grasp, cheekily calls out to the light of the humans in the sky, announcing he's got a special delivery. The light of the humans looks down with a stoic expression as his uncle, now very much a hostage, desperately pleads for his nephew's intervention. With a condescending smirk, the prodigy blames his uncle's weakness for humanity's poor reputation, then casually addresses Yin Yao as Little Silver Wolf. Yin Yao, thoroughly unimpressed, retorts that it's common knowledge humans are physically weaker and rarely match demonkind's natural prowess. The light of the humans scoffs at her claim of weakness, and Yin Yao, never one to back down, gets right up in his face, challenging him. With a mere flick of his fingers and a swirl of ominous purple energy, he prepares to swat Yin Yao away like an annoying fly, much to her surprise. Poor Yin Yao goes sailing through the air, letting out an undignified yelp as she's effortlessly launched backwards. She then makes a rather ungraceful landing, crashing hard onto the forest floor with a thud. The light of the humans smugly dismisses the demon's natural physique as nothing special, a faint purple glow still emanating from his hand. Yin Yao, clutching her head and looking utterly incensed, glares up at her attacker, absolutely fuming at his audacity. Yin Yao, still reeling, stares up as the light of the humans looms over her, his sword glinting menacingly, clearly intending to finish her off. This Zhou Yu character condescendingly tells Yin Yao to remember his name before he ends her, while she just glares back, probably thinking he's a real piece of work. Suddenly, Cao Yuan's voice cuts through the tension, his expression a mix of desperation and, "Not on my watch." Zhou Yu, with an irritated glance over his shoulder, casually informs Cao Yuan that his demise is next on the agenda, clearly unbothered. But Cao Yuan, ever the strategist, plays his trump card, warning Zhou Yu that if Yin Yao bites the dust, his dear uncle is going with her. Zhou Yu's face contorts with rage, absolutely seething at the audacity of Cao Yuan's threat. Cao Yuan, with a cheeky grin, presses a blade to the terrified uncle's throat, who hilariously starts screaming for his nephew to save him. Just then, Cao Yuan's system dings, announcing, "Mission Anger the Light of the Humans, complete," and immediately gives him a new, rather ominous quest involving avoiding an assault and using a dragon claw hand. Cao Yuan looks utterly baffled by the avoid assault part, thinking, doesn't he care about his uncle at all? While the hostage uncle shares his confusion. Zhou Yu, cold as ice, declares his uncle a disgrace and promises to give him a proper burial, basically writing him off without a second thought. Both Cao Yuan and his hostage uncle are absolutely dumbfounded, their eyes wide with disbelief at Zhou Yu's heartless declaration. Without missing a beat, Zhou Yu launches a fierce sword wave right at them, forcing a yelping Cao Yuan to scramble out of the way. The light of the humans follows up with an even more impressive swirling vortex of blade energy, clearly not holding back. Cao Yuan, dragging the screaming uncle, barely evades the onslaught, yelling at Zhou Yu for being crazy enough to attack his own kin. Zhou Yu, looking mildly irritated, grudgingly admits Cao Yuan is surprisingly good at dodging his attacks. Still trying to reason with the unreasonable, Cao Yuan reminds Zhou Yu that blood is thicker than water, while the uncle continues his terrified wailing. Zhou Yu, with chilling indifference, proclaims his uncle's sacrifice for the human race a glorious end, completely unmoved by the pleas. Cao Yuan is utterly aghast, finally grasping that this guy genuinely doesn't give a damn about his relatives. Zhou Yu takes a deliberate step forward, his posture radiating cold determination as he prepares his next move. Cao Yuan, his eyes now glowing a determined green, readies a counterattack, unleashing a blast of icy frost breath. Zhou Yu, unfazed by the icy blast, counters with a massive swirling sword wave of his own, looking every bit the arrogant prodigy. Chao Yuan, eyes wide with alarm, barely manages to duck under the whistling blade energy that slices through the air where he just stood. Thinking fast, Chao Yuan yeets the terrified uncle back towards his nephew, hoping to create a diversion or maybe just return unwanted goods. Zhou Yu, with utter disdain, simply swats his incoming uncle aside like a bothersome fly, his expression screaming, "Despicable underhanded tactics." The light of the humans turns, his cold gaze fixed on Cao Yuan, clearly not amused by the whole uncle projectile situation. But Cao Yuan, ever the opportunist, spots an opening and grins wickedly, realizing it's the perfect moment for a surprise. Our boy Cao Yuan then unleashes a very, very personal attack, aiming his dragon claw hand with pinpoint accuracy at Zhou Yu's unsuspecting backside. Zhou Yu's eyes bulge in a silent, horrified scream as the unexpected attack lands, with comedic flowers blooming to signify the sheer shock and violation. The mighty light of the humans crashes face first into the dirt, bent over in a rather undignified heap, courtesy of Cao Yuan's cheeky maneuver. Cao Yuan can't help but marvel at the surprising effectiveness of the dragon claw hand for, well, that particular application, as Zhou Yu nurses his wounded pride and posterior. The system dings again, congratulating Cao Yuan on his successful, fortune stealing, and immediately assigns him the daunting task of defeating this light of the humans. Cao Yuan looks utterly bewildered by this new quest, thinking the system might be jumping the gun a little on the whole defeat the prodigy front. Meanwhile, an absolutely incandescent Zhou Yu charges, sword raised, clearly not appreciating the earlier very personal attack, while Cao Yuan suspects this whole system is just designed to mess with him. Zhou Yu's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated rage as he screams his murderous intent, his eyes practically burning holes into where Cao Yuan was. But with a surprising burst of speed, Cao Yuan vanishes into thin air, leaving Zhou Yu to slash at nothing but a faint afterimage, much to the prodigy's shock. The light of the humans whirls around, sword at the ready, completely baffled by his target's sudden disappearing act. It turns out Cao Yuan has shrunk himself down to a tiny sprout-like creature, peeking out from behind a tree and sighing in relief that he wasn't diced into 8 pieces. This miniature Cao Yuan, looking rather grumpy, demands some intel from his system, clearly feeling outmatched by the ridiculously overpowered Zhou Yu. The system promptly displays Zhou Yu's impressive, if somewhat intimidating profile. Zone protagonist, undefeated genius, and currently no listed weaknesses. Tiny Cao Yuan taps his foot impatiently, a bead of sweat forming as the system leisurely checks for weaknesses, forcing him to figure out how to stall this enraged prodigy. Just as Tiny Cao Yuan was trying to strategize, Zhou Yu's menacing face appears right over his hiding spot, exclaiming he's found him, much to the sprout's horror. With a swift thwack, Zhou Yu flicks the little sprout, sending a jolt through poor Cao Yuan, who lets out a tiny yelp of surprise. Zhou Yu, ever the sharp prodigy, dismisses the tiny form as a mere illusion, clearly not falling for Cao Yuan's shrinking trick. Suddenly, a determined Yin Yao bursts onto the scene, her expression fierce as she rushes towards the confrontation. Yin Yao, in a surprise rescue attempt, snatches up the tiny Cao Yuan and aims him like a very angry, leafy projectile towards Zhou Yu's back. Our little sprout Cao Yuan is overcome with emotion, his eyes turning into hearts as he swoons over Yin Yao's dramatic entrance. Yin Yao, completely unamused by his sudden affection, barks at him to cut the cutesy talk, clearly focused on escaping. Zhou Yu, with a contemptuous sneer, turns his attention to the fleeing duo, dismissing Yin Yao as an inferior being who can't escape. As Zhou Yu gives chase, sword at the ready, Yin Yao desperately tells her tiny passenger to come up with a plan, and fast. Tiny Cao Yuan, a spark of inspiration hitting him, confidently tells Yin Yao he's got an idea and to just wait for his signal. Yin Yao looks utterly baffled by Cao Yuan's cryptic instruction, wondering what on earth he means by stand by. Suddenly, an icy blast erupts from where Yin Yao is holding the tiny Cao Yuan, making her yelp as frost breath shoots out. Zhou Yu, thoroughly unimpressed, scoffs at their small tricks, readying his sword as purple energy crackles around him. With a dramatic flourish, Zhou Yu unleashes a terrifying, massive wolf made of pure fire and energy, roaring as it lunges forward. Tiny Cao Yuan, peeking out, realizes with a gulp that the light of the humans has mixed some nasty extra skills into his wind attack. A colossal explosion rocks the forest, sending up a plume of smoke and debris as the fiery wolf makes its devastating impact. Yin Yao gets slammed back against a tree from the force of the blast, crying out as she clutches the little sprout Cao Yuan protectively. Leaning against the tree, Yin Yao glances down at the blushing sprout in her arms, skeptically wondering if his little trick actually offed the prodigy. The tiny Cao Yuan, however, is just giggling to himself, clearly enjoying his rather cozy and strategic position a little too much. In a blink, Cao Yuan is suddenly back to his normal size, his face conveniently buried right into Yin Yao's chest, leaving her completely bewildered. Cao Yuan, with his eyes blissfully shut, is thoroughly relishing the unexpected warm comfort of his current predicament. Yin Yao, meanwhile, snaps back to reality with a jolt, her face flushing a brilliant red as she realizes just where Cao Yuan's head is. With a furious cry, she shoves him away, accusing the poor guy of yet another perverted assault, much to his surprise. Still beet red, Yin Yao covers her mouth, utterly scandalized and demanding he keep his distance, the pervert. Cao Yuan, looking rather indignant himself, retorts that she was the one doing the hugging, while Yin Yao stubbornly refuses to look at him. Brushing off the awkwardness, Cao Yuan impatiently demands an update from his system about Zhou Yu's much-needed weakness. The system reveals a surprising tidbit. Zhou Yu apparently has some serious childhood water trauma, making Cao Yuan marvel at its dirt-digging capabilities. Cao Yuan mulls over this juicy intel, realizing a nearby lake would be perfect, if only he could find one, while Yin Yao watches him talk to himself with concern. Suddenly, a brilliant idea strikes Cao Yuan, a wide grin spreading across his face, as Yin Yao in the background seriously questions his sanity. With newfound determination sparkling in his eyes, Cao Yuan turns to Yin Yao, enthusiastically declaring he needs her assistance for his grand plan. Yin Yao, looking a bit unsure but ultimately trusting, agrees to Cao Yuan's mysterious plan. Zhou Yu, ever so arrogant, smirks as Cao Yuan finally steps out from hiding, clearly expecting an easy victory. Cao Yuan, with a sudden burst of bravado, points dramatically at Zhou Yu, declaring he's done running and it's time for a fight to the death. The light of the humans, looking utterly unimpressed, coolly accepts the challenge, probably already imagining his triumph. Suddenly, Yin Yao, executing her part of the plan, leaps high above Zhou Yu, who looks up in momentary confusion. A colossal geyser of earth and water erupts from beneath Zhou Yu's feet, completely engulfing him in a messy explosion. Zhou Yu now finds himself face down in a newly formed pond, a comical duck paddling by, as Cao Yuan smugly observes that this should do the trick. Cao Yuan hauls the dripping, unconscious prodigy from the water, while Yin Yao, hands on hips, questions his next move. With a grimly determined look, Cao Yuan declares that keeping Zhou Yu alive is far too risky for their future. A sword is drawn with a menacing glint, signaling Cao Yuan's chilling resolve to end the threat once and for all. Cao Yuan, with a steely gaze and sword held high, prepares to deliver a final, merciless blow to the unconscious Zhou Yu. But just as the blade nears Zhou Yu's throat, Cao Yuan freezes, a flicker of hesitation crossing his face, while Yin Yao watches with a skeptical frown. He slowly lowers his sword, the killing intent visibly draining away, much to his own apparent confusion. Cao Yuan clicks his tongue in annoyance, clearly frustrated with his own sudden change of heart, a bead of sweat appearing. Yin Yao, arms crossed, eyes Cao Yuan with suspicion, finding his abrupt shift from ruthless executioner to soft-hearted fool utterly bizarre. Just then, Zhou Yu's eyes snap open with a dangerous glint, the prodigy stirring back to consciousness far too quickly. Yin Yao gasps, her eyes widening in alarm as she realizes their window of opportunity is rapidly closing. Zhou Yu, surprisingly calm despite a sword at his neck, looks up at Cao Yuan, a hint of disbelief in his eyes. Cao Yuan, trying to sound tough but failing miserably, huffs that even if Zhou Yu recovered, he wouldn't stoop to attacking a weakened foe. The prodigy, now sitting up, spots Yin Yao and with renewed vigor declares his intent to recover and challenge them again, particularly noting her beast tribe origins. Yin Yao, clearly not on board with mercy, questions Cao Yuan's sanity for sparing Zhou Yu, while he just stares ahead, lost in thought. Suddenly, a steely resolve flashes in Cao Yuan's eyes, a new plan clearly forming. He then grabs Yin Yao's hand, a silent signal for them to get a move on, much to her surprise. Our duo is now perched on a tree branch, spying on two figures below, one of whom looks suspiciously like that other wolf boy. The white-haired attendant politely asks his young master if they should pay their respects to the local Silver Wolf tribe, since they're in their neck of the woods. The young wolf master, Lang Yan, scoffs, revealing he considers the Silver Wolves fools and has even orchestrated their slaughter, all while boasting about his plans to seize a phoenix. Up in the tree, Cao Yuan's ears perk up at the mention of a phoenix, while Yin Yao looks on with a grim expression. Yin Yao then shares a vital secret. Deep in the blazing forest, a powerful being undergoes a rebirth every 300 years, becoming incredibly vulnerable. Just then, a colossal, fiery, magical circle blazes into existence nearby, a powerful energy signature descending into its core. Cao Yuan and Yin Yao whip their heads around, startled, as fiery tendrils erupt through the trees, signaling something big is going down. Cao Yuan stares in disbelief, suddenly connecting the dots that the fiery spectacle might mean the phoenix's rebirth is happening way sooner than expected. The sheer force of the magical eruption sends both Cao Yuan and Yin Yao tumbling, with Cao Yuan letting out a rather undignified yelp as he faceplants. Cao Yuan's eyes practically bug out of his head as he spots an unwelcome face, utterly floored by their sudden appearance. Our heroes momentarily transform into bewildered noodles, Yin Yao ready to throw down while Cao Yuan ponders the etiquette of attacking unannounced. Lang Yan, the wolf boy, flashes a smug grin, absolutely certain they're too late to stop him and will soon be quaking in their boots. Yin Yao practically drags a flailing Cao Yuan through the underbrush, desperately trying to catch the tiny, retreating figure of Lang Yan. With a fierce glint in her eyes, Yin Yao grits her teeth, knowing they have to pick up the pace or lose their quarry for good. Cao Yuan, looking utterly spent, dramatically suggests they just give up because apparently they're all doomed to die together anyway. Lang Yan zips away like a furry little rocket, leaving Yin Yao staring skyward, still determined to somehow intercept him. As Yin Yao continues to tow him along, Cao Yuan, ever the observant one, blankly wonders if she also saw something whiz past overhead. Lang Yan, with a maniacal glint in his eyes, reaches out, absolutely convinced he's about to become the most powerful being ever. But his triumphant declaration is cut short by a sudden sharp crack, his face twisting as he utters something about a demon. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan finds himself at the bottom of a massive crater, looking like a tiny ant, utterly bewildered about his current location. His whole body aches, and he lies there, dazed and confused, wondering how on earth he ended up in this pit. Cao Yuan sits up, clutching his head as fragmented memories of falling, Yin Yao, and a sudden fiery attack flash through his mind. A jolt of panic hits him as he looks around wildly, the urgent question of Yin Yao's whereabouts consuming his thoughts. He stumbles out of the crater only to find a surprisingly peaceful scene with a lake and unharmed trees, making him question if he's dreaming after that massive fiery explosion. And there's Yin Yao, casually bathing in the lake while a mysterious red-haired girl washes her hair, thanking her for the comfortable bath. The red-haired girl, with a gentle smile, assures Yin Yao it's no trouble at all, looking entirely unfazed. Cao Yuan, peeking from behind a tree, finally spots Yin Yao, but his relief is mixed with utter confusion at the sight of the unknown lady. Yin Yao, with a stern look, clearly senses Cao Yuan's presence and is not amused by his peeping. A wash basin suddenly connects with Cao Yuan's face, courtesy of an enraged Yin Yao who sends him flying for being a scoundrel. Yin Yao, now modestly wrapped, fiercely shields the red-haired girl, demanding Cao Yuan avert his eyes immediately. Cao Yuan, completely bewildered by the sudden turn of events and the aggressive modesty, just can't catch a break. The mysterious red-haired girl calmly acknowledges Cao Yuan, seemingly identifying him as the plucky survivor of her earlier fiery display. Cao Yuan's jaw drops as he recognizes her voice. It's the same powerful entity he heard during the chaotic explosion. Yin Yao's wolf ears twitch furiously, little anger veins popping, signaling her patience with Cao Yuan's antics is wearing dangerously thin. With a mighty bam, Yin Yao lands a solid punch, sending Cao Yuan tumbling once more for daring to peek while they were changing. The red-haired girl casually mentions to a stunned Yin Yao that Cao Yuan was actually clinging to her for dear life during the attack. Yin Yao, now beet red and utterly flustered by this revelation, can only stammer out accusations of perversion at poor Cao Yuan. The mysterious red-haired girl casually introduces herself to a very surprised Cao Yuan, who's currently serving as her impromptu lounge chair. Cao Yuan, utterly baffled by the young one comment, looks up with wide, questioning eyes from his undignified position. Now standing, the red-haired girl strikes a sassy pose in her towel, daring Cao Yuan to object to her rather condescending nickname. Just then, Zhou Yu bursts onto the scene, urgently pleading with the red-haired girl, the Great Phoenix apparently, to avoid some dangerous demons. Yin Yao, still wrapped in her towel, looks like she's seen a ghost, pointing a shaky finger as the Great Phoenix revelation sinks in. The Great Phoenix, however, coolly dismisses Zhou Yu's warning with a knowing little smile, clearly unimpressed by his dramatics. Zhou Yu, ever the protector, earnestly explains that Lang Yan is a master manipulator, and the Phoenix, with her childish mindset, is prime for duping. Brandishing his sword, Zhou Yu, mistaking poor Cao Yuan for the fleeing Lang Yan, fiercely declares that the villain's game is up. Cao Yuan, finally finding his voice from the ground, glares up defiantly, wondering by what authority Zhou Yu thinks he can boss him around. Zhou Yu, having none of Cao Yuan's sass, prepares to get serious, warning him that things are about to get unfriendly. Cao Yuan's eyes widen in disbelief, realizing Zhou Yu is way too fast for him to even follow, let alone fight. With a lightning-fast swoosh, Zhou Yu lunges, his sword a blur as he closes the distance to a bracing Cao Yuan. Blood erupts as Zhou Yu lands a devastating blow, leaving Cao Yuan utterly stunned and looking like he's seen a ghost. Yin Yao, now surprisingly dressed, spots the dire situation and rushes forward, yelling something that sounds suspiciously like pervert again. Bless her heart. The Great Phoenix, meanwhile, watches the unfolding drama with the serene, almost detached air of someone watching a mildly interesting play. Poor Cao Yuan is reduced to a tiny, helpless little doodle, sent flying by a whirlwind of green energy, clearly outmatched. Yin Yao dashes towards the comically small Cao Yuan, genuinely concerned, while the Phoenix just stands there cool as a cucumber, and Zhou Yu looks on. Zhou Yu, with his back turned, coolly explains that his human sword technique is a surefire kill move, not to be used lightly. Yin Yao, absolutely furious, demands to know why Zhou Yu felt the need to go for the kill when Cao Yuan was already down. The Great Phoenix's eyes narrow ever so slightly, a hint of something unreadable in her gaze as she observes the heated exchange. Zhou Yu gets a verbal slap on the wrist for nearly obliterating a junior, his face a mask of stern justification. He coolly rationalizes his brutality as the natural order of humans versus demons, demanding the grass demon's body, which he believes belonged to his people. Yin Yao, cradling the comically tiny Cao Yuan, fiercely questions if Zhou Yu plans to off her too, given her own demonic heritage. Zhou Yu acknowledges her status as a divine beast that protected humans, but warns her not to be stubborn and get in his way, his sword still ominously present. With a defiant glare, Yin Yao basically dares him to try, unflinching as the tip of his sword hovers dangerously close. Zhou Yu seems momentarily flustered by her audacity, perhaps thinking she's being utterly foolish. The Great Phoenix finally speaks, her tone dripping with amusement as she points out the glaring disconnect between Zhou Yu's brave words and his actual feelings, openly wondering if he's scared. Zhou Yu, puffing his chest, vehemently denies any fear, proclaiming himself the light of the humans, though his eyes betray a hint of desperation. The Phoenix just smirks, clearly finding his overblown posturing rather tiresome and not at all convincing. Turning to Yin Yao, the Phoenix expresses a flicker of genuine curiosity about Cao Yuan, intrigued that he managed to survive one of her powerful attacks. The Great Phoenix, with a curious glint in her eye, pokes the tiny, unconscious Cao Yuan, a strange pink energy swirling around him as Yin Yao holds him. Zhou Yu's eyes practically bulge out of his head, absolutely horrified by the Phoenix's apparent intention to form a pact with this random dude. Lunging forward, Zhou Yu desperately tries to stop the Phoenix, yelling about some lifelong blood connection he clearly doesn't approve of. But it's too late. A colossal pillar of fiery energy erupts, blasting poor Zhou Yu backward as he lets out a terrified scream. The Phoenix, looking ethereal amidst the swirling power, calmly completes her ritual with a now normal-sized Cao Yuan, who just stares up in a daze. With graceful hand movements, the Phoenix finalizes the mystical connection, the air still crackling with potent energy. She then gently cradles the still out-of-it Cao Yuan, who seems to have been caught completely off guard by this sudden, intimate power-up. In a surprisingly tender moment, the Great Phoenix leans in and plants a gentle kiss on Cao Yuan's forehead, sealing whatever just happened. Looking down at the unconscious Cao Yuan, the Phoenix softly urges him to wake up, a hint of urgency in her voice suggesting time is of the essence. And just like that, Cao Yuan's eyes snap open, revealing startlingly bright, almost glowing green irises. He's definitely not the same anymore. Cao Yuan, now sporting some seriously cool, glowing green eyes, stares up, while Yin Yao in the background looks utterly bewildered by this sudden power-up. Yin Yao, ever consistent, can only point and sputter about Cao Yuan being a big pervert, clearly overwhelmed by everything. Clutching her chest, Yin Yao blushes furiously, completely baffled by a strange new feeling stirring within her. Perhaps it's not just anger anymore? The Great Phoenix casually dismisses Zhou Yu's dramatic death threat against her new contractor, while Yin Yao just looks on, caught in the middle. Zhou Yu, looking like he means business, declares he's about to unleash his formless elephant sword technique, covering his mouth as if to concentrate his power. With a flash of light and crackling energy, Zhou Yu launches his devastating attack, clearly aiming to end Cao Yuan for good this time. Cao Yuan, however, looks more annoyed than scared, practically yelling at Zhou Yu for trying to kill him again, and wondering if the guy ever gets tired. With a determined poof, Cao Yuan transforms back into his tiny, feisty grass demon form, ready to dodge whatever Zhou Yu throws at him. The tiny grass demon Cao Yuan hilariously tattles to the Phoenix about Zhou Yu bullying him, while Zhou Yu fumes in the background, looking absolutely livid. Yin Yao, bless her fiery heart, completely loses it, screaming at the tiny Cao Yuan to get away from the Phoenix, her pervert accusations reaching new heights of absurdity. Yin Yao absolutely loses it, demanding to know why the Phoenix is suddenly on Cao Yuan's side, while the tiny grass demon looks thoroughly unimpressed by the outburst. The Great Phoenix, holding the little green guy, casually remarks that he's a bit too pathetic and she's already having second thoughts about their new partnership. Cao Yuan, still in his miniature form, stares up with wide, confused eyes, clearly having no clue what contract she's even talking about. Dangling him by his leaf, the Phoenix sternly informs Cao Yuan that sister is off limits because by rebirth standards, she's practically a baby, and he's making her sound ancient. She then generously permits him to call her Dan, now that they're a group, and little Cao Yuan, ever the optimist, is thrilled by her supposed niceness. The Phoenix flashes a sweet smile, then casually drops the bomb that her last 6 contractors said the exact same thing right before they bit the dust. A jolt of pure terror shoots through tiny Cao Yuan as he desperately hopes those previous contractors at least died peacefully of old age, right? Zhou Yu, ever the helpful harbinger of doom, chimes in to explain that Phoenix contractors become prime targets for anyone wanting her power, by killing them, of course. The Phoenix, with a glint in her eye, admits she found his earlier struggles amusing, and basically signed him up to see if he could survive even more hunters. Then, with a breezy farewell, she declares that his potential demise is no skin off her nose, leaving a screaming, horrified Cao Yuan to contemplate his very short life expectancy. The Phoenix, with a disarmingly sweet smile, cheerfully admits she's not above offing useless contractors herself, much to Cao Yuan's utter horror. This lady is pure evil. Little Cao Yuan makes a desperate dash for his life, wailing comically as Zhou Yu, sword raised, vows that this time there's no escape. Zhou Yu lunges with all his might, his sword a silver streak, but somehow his target isn't where it's supposed to be. With surprising agility for a tiny sprout, Cao Yuan executes a perfect dodge, zipping right under Zhou Yu's attack. Zhou Yu is absolutely flabbergasted, unable to comprehend how this little grass demon so easily evaded his powerful strike. Yin Yao, ever the observant one, looks towards the Phoenix with a puzzled expression, wondering what fresh chaos is brewing now. The Phoenix, however, just offers a knowing, almost mischievous smile, clearly sensing that the party is about to get a lot more interesting. Suddenly, a massive, ominous wolf-like shadow looms over them, its voice full of regret, wondering if it missed its chance to contract with the Phoenix. Yin Yao whips around, instantly on alert and ready to throw down, demanding to know who this imposing newcomer is. Meanwhile, Zhou Yu finds himself unexpectedly ensnared by glowing white tendrils of energy, utterly shocked by this sudden, immobilizing development. Tiny Cao Yuan, looking utterly stressed, frantically weaves through the glowing white tendrils of energy, his little body a blur of evasive maneuvers. Zhou Yu, still caught in the tendrils himself, seethes with frustration, wondering how this weakling keeps slipping through his grasp when he's taken down far stronger foes. The little grass demon, with a comically bewildered expression, seems just as surprised by his own agility, having no idea how he's pulling this off. The imposing wolf-like figure, now more clearly a large, cloaked individual, casually greets the Phoenix, mentioning it's been a good few centuries since they last met, while Yin Yao eyes him warily. Yin Yao, ever ready for a fight, steps forward protectively, demanding to know who this powerful newcomer dares to be. The phoenix, with a knowing little smile, acknowledges the figure as her second brother, sounding mildly surprised he even remembers her. The newcomer, now revealed to be a stern-faced white tiger man, makes it clear he's not here for a friendly chat, his expression all business. The phoenix's eyes widen in sudden alarm as she feels a chilling wave of murderous intent wash over her from her supposed brother. In a swift, decisive movement, a hand firmly grasps another's wrist, a silent signal of impending danger and the need for a quick escape. The phoenix, her usual smirk gone, urgently pulls Yin Yao, her voice tight with warning as she tells her to run, a look of genuine concern on her face. The white tiger man wastes no time, sending both Yin Yao and the phoenix flying with a powerful kick, clearly not here for a family reunion. Yin Yao lets out a startled cry as she soars through the air, with tiny Cao Yuan comically flailing beside her, equally caught off guard. Still airborne, Yin Yao looks utterly flustered, while little Cao Yuan, ever the opportunist, seems to be aiming for a soft landing on her. In a surprising twist, Cao Wen, now normal-sized again, ends up cushioning Yin Yao's fall in a rather intimate embrace, surrounded by a protective green glow. The Tiger Man stands amidst the chaos he created, coolly stating he's just following his master's orders to bring the phoenix back. No hard feelings. He then looks down with a sneer, openly wondering how Dan, even after rebirth, could be so disappointingly weak. The phoenix, surprisingly calm on the ground, retorts with a pointed question about her second brother, stooping to serve a human master. Her expression turns to one of disdain as she pointedly asks if her divine beast brother has really become someone's lapdog. The Tiger Man bristles, clenching his fist, and retorts that she wouldn't understand, daring her to test if his claws have dulled. Yin Yao, despite the clear danger and being told to flee, looks back with a worried shout, unable to just abandon the phoenix. A new wolf-eared girl cradles Yin Yao, looking up with concern and questioning the Tiger Man's harshness towards his own sister. The white Tiger Man snarls, clearly insulted by the intervention and dismissing the wolf girl with contempt. Drawing herself up proudly, the wolf girl announces her high status and declares the phoenix is under her husband's protection, so back off. Absolutely livid, the Tiger Man extends his menacing claws, ready to silence this defiant wolf girl permanently. The wolf girl tenderly shields Yin Yao, who seems a bit dazed by all the high-stakes family drama unfolding. Suddenly, the wolf girl looks sideways with a surprised, "Eh?" as if an unexpected development just occurred. And what a development. Cao Yuan, looking incredibly buff, has somehow intercepted the Tiger Man's massive arm, stopping the attack cold and leaving the Tiger Man utterly stunned. Cao Yuan, eyes blazing with protective fury, makes it crystal clear that while he might take a hit, anyone who tries to harm the girls will face his wrath. The Tiger Man stares, a flicker of grudging respect in his eyes, genuinely surprised this mere contractor could withstand his power. With a confident smirk and those glowing green eyes, Cao Yuan coolly advises the formidable Tiger Man not to underestimate him. The Tiger Man, towering over Cao Yuan, coldly declares that since he has to bring the phoenix back, her contractor is also on his hit list. Cao Yuan, far from intimidated, flashes a challenging grin, practically inviting the Tiger Man to try his luck. The wolf girl, still protectively holding Yin Yao, looks up at Cao Yuan with genuine concern, questioning if he really has a way to deal with such a monstrous opponent. With a reassuringly confident glint in his bright green eyes, Cao Yuan tells her not to worry, as he's already got a brilliant plan cooking. The wolf girl stares, her expression a mix of disbelief and perhaps a tiny flicker of hope at his bold claim. A sly, almost cheeky smile spreads across Cao Yuan's face as he prepares to unveil his master strategy. And his genius plan is to leg it. Cao Yuan scoops up the surprised wolf girl, and Yin Yao by extension, and makes a mad dash for safety, much to her shock. The Tiger Man roars in absolute fury, calling them despicable scum and demanding they stop their cowardly retreat. Just as the enraged Tiger Man is about to give chase, he suddenly halts, a glint of something sharp catching his attention from the side. "Surprise, surprise!" Zhou Yu dramatically steps in, sword at the ready, proclaiming that the great phoenix protects humans, and anyone wanting to harm her has to go through him first. Zhou Yu, with a grimly determined face, seems to declare his debt to the phoenix repaid, ready for whatever comes next. Meanwhile, Cao Yuan continues his tactical retreat, with the wolf girl unceremoniously slung over his shoulder, loudly protesting her undignified mode of transport. Yin Yao, still being piggybacked by the wolf girl, glances back with a worried frown, wondering if abandoning Zhou Yu to face the Tiger Man alone was really the best idea. Chao Yuan, looking quite stressed but resolute, yells back that running was his only option since he's no match for that monstrous tiger dude. The wolf girl, still bouncing along, can't help but tease Chao Yuan about his less-than-heroic dash, especially in front of his supposed wife, much to Yin Yao's slight irritation. Flustered by the teasing, the wolf girl vehemently insists her marriage to Chao Yuan was for a very specific, super important reason, thank you very much. Yin Yao, surprisingly, offers a gentle, knowing smile to Chao Yuan, reassuring him that his current power is much greater than he thinks. Chao Yuan looks like he wants the earth to swallow him whole as Yin Yao's disembodied praise about him being a passable husband echoes, making him wish he was anywhere else. With a comically serious expression, Chao Yuan announces he'll be right back, still awkwardly carrying both girls, as if he's about to perform some grand feat. Back in the fray, Zhou Yu unleashes a furious flurry of sword strikes, clearly giving his all against the formidable Tiger Man. Zhou Yu, panting and clearly outmatched, furiously accuses the Tiger Man of fighting dirty, his pride wounded. The Tiger Man, with a dismissive sneer, concedes Zhou Yu isn't a total pushover, but makes it clear he's just a nuisance not worth his precious time. A dejected Zhou Yu admits his own shortcomings, rueing the fact that his fancy sword decided to stop working at the worst possible moment. Just as Zhou Yu is about to throw in the towel, Chao Yuan casually pops up behind him, looking way too relaxed for the situation. Zhou Yu spins around, completely flabbergasted to see Chao Yuan back, wondering what on earth he's doing here. Chao Yuan gives a look that screams, "Do you really think I chose to dive back into this mess?" Suddenly, a very unhelpful system message flashes before Chao Yuan's eyes, basically screaming, "Run, you fool, he's gonna squash you!" But Chao Yuan, bless his reckless heart, crosses his arms with a fiery glint in his eyes, deciding that retreat isn't in his vocabulary today. The Tiger Man looms over Chao Yuan, a predatory glint in his eyes, almost thanking him for serving himself up on a silver platter. With a terrifyingly eager grin, the Tiger Man practically invites Chao Yuan to a dance of death, ready for some honorable pummeling. Chao Yuan, with a wild glint in his eyes, looks like he's actually enjoying this deadly confrontation. The Tiger Man, having none of Chao Yuan's bravado, launches himself forward with a furious roar, aiming to end this quickly. Chao Yuan braces for impact as a fist, the size of his head, hurtles towards him, the ground shaking from the sheer force. That colossal white fist fills the frame, promising a world of hurt for anyone unlucky enough to be in its path. But wait, the Tiger Man looks utterly bewildered as his punch meets nothing but air. Our boy Chao Yuan is surprisingly nimble. Like a caffeinated flea, Chao Yuan dramatically reappears, leaping high above the stunned Tiger Man, ready to strike from an unexpected angle. With a fierce battle cry, Chao Yuan unleashes a crackling, lightning-infused attack, aiming his greedy wolf claw right at the beast. The Tiger Man actually yelps in pain as the attack lands, a rare sight indeed, proving Chao Yuan packed some punch. Unfortunately, hitting a divine beast is like punching a mountain, and Chao Yuan gets violently thrown back, his arm throbbing from the rebound. He skids to a halt, digging his heels in, barely managing to stay on his feet after that bone-jarring impact. The Tiger Man, barely flinching, casually asks if Chao Yuan's impressive attack was really all he had. With an expression of utter boredom, the Tiger Man declares that Chao Yuan's best shot didn't even tickle. Chao Yuan, now looking a tad desperate, mentally begs his system to pinpoint this beast's Achilles heel, and fast. The system unhelpfully displays a stat comparison showing Chao Yuan is hilariously outmatched, with a 0% chance of victory. Our hero breaks into a cold sweat, comically panicking because the Phoenix totally promised him he could win this. Chao Yuan, ever the strategist, awkwardly tries to call a truce, suggesting they just forget the whole thing and definitely not schedule a rematch. The Tiger Man scoffs, finding Chao Yuan's desire to play hero without actually risking his neck rather illogical. As Chao Yuan nimbly dodges another earth-shattering punch, the Tiger Man growls in frustration, wondering how this weakling keeps evading him. Watching from the sidelines, Zhou Yu has a sudden flashback, recalling that same uncanny evasiveness from Chao Yuan during their own scuffle. A spark of understanding lights up Chao Yuan's eyes as he realizes his body is dodging on autopilot, leading to a brand new, hopeful thought. Chao Yuan, brimming with newfound confidence, strikes a heroic pose and announces his brilliant new strategy. He's going to wear the big bad tiger down. The Tiger Man gives Cao Yuan a "you serious, bro" kind of look, clearly unimpressed by this bold declaration. Our boy Cao Yuan, ever the optimist, explains that since the tiger can't land a hit, all he needs to do is stall for time, easy peasy. But the Tiger Man, with a glint in his eye, growls that he's already figured out Cao Yuan's little game. Cao Yuan's confident smirk vanishes, replaced by a look of pure, unadulterated shock. Maybe his plan wasn't so foolproof after all. Before Cao Yuan can even blink, a lightning-fast blur zips past, and he looks utterly startled by the sudden attack. The Tiger Man smirks, looking rather pleased with himself as he points out he did manage to land a hit, while Cao Yuan clutches a bleeding arm in the background. Cao Yuan stares at his wounded arm, completely bewildered, and wondering how on earth that just happened. His eyes widen in panic as he tries to process the Tiger Man's sudden, terrifying burst of speed. Meanwhile, Zhou Yu, peeking from behind a tree, looks utterly baffled, wondering what tricks the Tiger Man is talking about, because he certainly didn't see anything. Zhou Yu, with a knowing look, tells the Tiger Man he clearly doesn't understand the situation well enough, much to the tiger's slight confusion. It's revealed that Yin Yao, in her phoenix form, explained to the wolf girl how Cao Yuan, after their contract, likely learned the Sun Li formation using wind and fire elements she controls. Zhou Yu, still looking like he's lecturing, insists that predicting movements by sensing an opponent's body through wind is impossible without some prior impulse. Yin Yao clarifies that while theoretically possible to identify enemy positions with the formation, predicting movement patterns requires insane computational power. Cao Yuan, nursing his bleeding arm, glares as a system message unhelpfully points out the obvious. The enemy is about to attack again. The Tiger Man, looking absolutely furious and done with games, roars that this time he's going to utterly demolish Cao Yuan. Silhouettes clash as the Tiger Man throws another punch and a sharp crack echoes, suggesting something just broke, hopefully not Cao Yuan. A super close-up on Cao Yuan's eye shows a spark of intense concentration, as if he's finally seeing something crucial. Cao Yuan stares after the Tiger Man, a dawning realization hitting him as he wonders if what he just saw was the beast's actual movement trail. With a look of desperate resolve, Cao Yuan grits his teeth, knowing he absolutely has to dodge whatever fresh hell is coming his way. The Tiger Man's colossal fist clenches, radiating pure, unadulterated power as he prepares to unleash another devastating blow. Cao Yuan's eyes widen in sheer terror, his body already flinching away as the white blur of an incoming attack threatens to overwhelm him. The Tiger Man smirks, condescendingly noting that while Cao Yuan might predict moves, he's far too weak to survive against absolute speed, and will soon succumb to blood loss. Cao Yuan looks utterly perplexed by the mention of bleeding out, especially as a razor-sharp wind attack slices menacingly across the ground right in front of him. He instinctively touches his previously injured arm, only to find the skin smooth and unbroken, much to his own quiet surprise. The Tiger Man's jaw practically drops, his eyes wide with disbelief as he stares at where Cao Yuan's wound should be, clearly demanding an explanation. Cao Yuan, sporting a pair of suddenly vibrant green eyes, offers a cheeky, almost smug explanation about grass demons having ridiculously fast recovery rates. Peeking from his hiding spot, Zhou Yu's expression shifts to one of dawning comprehension, as if Cao Yuan's words just unlocked a critical piece of a puzzle. A close-up on Zhou Yu's eye reveals a spark of sudden insight, hinting that he's just had a major epiphany about the unfolding situation. In a blink, Zhou Yu, along with Yin Yao and the wolf girl, find themselves abruptly transported to a bright, unfamiliar forest, looking utterly disoriented by the sudden change of scenery. Yin Yao, looking serene in this new, sparkly forest, calmly advises the wolf girl to watch carefully and stay put. The wolf girl, however, is absolutely freaking out, convinced Cao Yuan is about to become Tiger Chow back where they left him. But Yin Yao, with a knowing and slightly smug smile, reassures her that the real show is just getting started, hinting at something exciting.